Hello, friends. My name is Ernie, and I'm one of the teachers around here at YNAB. And I'm going to be walking through how to use credit cards in YNAB. And I'm going to start at the very beginning from adding the accounts and then walk through all the various ins and outs. Keep in mind, we have broken down this video into chapters, so you can skip around, you can rewatch. Basically, you can do whatever you want to make sure that you understand how to use credit cards in YNAB. And then at the very end, I'm going to give you some additional resources. So let's hop on over to the web app and jump right in. Like I said, I'm going to be starting from the very beginning. So adding two credit card accounts. I'm going to show you how to add a linked account and also an unlinked account. So over here on the left, I'm just going to hit that add account button. And keep in mind, you can always change your mind later on. So maybe you start with a linked account and you decide a couple days from now you want to unlink it. You can totally do that. I'm going to start with my linked account. I've already established a connection to my bank. If you haven't, you just hit that add connection button and you walk through that process. Click on Citibank. Find my credit card. There it is. Next. And I have now successfully linked my credit card in YNAB. And here's what YNAB does. YNAB automatically adds the account over here on the left, and you can always edit the name of that. I think I'm going to do that. Click that little pencil icon right there. That's a really long, unattractive name. Let's just call it my Visa. And then YNAB automatically imports the balance of that account. So as of today, I owe Visa $410. And then once YNAB adds the account, let me click on the budget in the upper left here. You can see that YNAB automatically creates a credit card payment category for that account. This payment category is what I'm going to use to keep track of how much money I have available for my next payment. So notice the difference between those two numbers. The account, again, that's telling me what I owe. I owe Visa $410. And then my payment category is telling me how much money I have for my next payment. So I owe $410. I don't have any money set aside for my next payment. Another way to look at that, of all the money that I currently have, $4,040, zero of those dollars have been set aside for the next payment. And that is why this payment category is yellow. It is reminding me to set money aside for my next payment. And you can see over here on the right, it's reminding me you need to assign $410 to pay off your current balance. So now I have a decision to make. How am I going to handle that current balance that I owe Visa, $410? And there's two options. I'm going to pay that balance all at once. So this would be for the folks who have that pay in full card. And when I say pay in full, I mean you're paying it down to zero every single month, or you're paying the statement balance without paying any interest. I treat both of those situations the exact same in YNAB. So am I going to pay it all at once, or do I need to pay off that balance over time? In this case, the Visa is my pay in full card. So at some point this month, I'm going to be sending Visa a payment that gets that balance all the way down to zero. Or like I said, I'm paying that statement balance without paying any interest. So I don't need to do anything to my payment category. I want it to remain yellow until I assign the entire amount of that current balance that I owe. But in this case, I don't need to wait to assign any money to the payment category because I have some dollars available up top here. So I'm going to take 410 of those dollars, assign them directly to my Visa payment category. And now you can see I have $410 set aside to send to Visa as my next payment. And those dollars are just going to stay there until I actually make the payment. So I could do that right now, or I could wait until the end of the month. Like I said, it really doesn't matter, but the money is going to be safely held in that payment category until I decide to actually send it to Visa. So now look at where we stand. Of all the money I have, $4,040, 410 of those are set aside to send to Visa as a payment. And I have the exact amount I need to pay that $410 balance all the way down to zero. And this is the relationship you want between the payment and the account for those of you that have a pay in full card. You want that payment number to match your balance. So there we go. I have dealt with the starting balance of my pay in full Visa card. Let's go ahead and add another account. And this one's going to be unlinked. This is my Discover. I'm going to choose that credit card account type. That's super important. And then since this is an unlinked account, I need to enter in that current balance myself. So I log into my actual Discover account, get that balance, enter it in YNAB. And let's say as of today, I owe Discover $2,400. And then it's the same process. YNAB adds the account, and that account is showing me the balance as of today. I owe Discover $2,400. And then on the budget, automatically, YNAB creates a payment category for my Discover account. And once again, it's yellow. It's reminding me that I need to make a decision about that current balance that I brought into YNAB. Ernie, you need to assign $2,400 more to pay off your current balance. So how am I going to handle that current balance? My options are pay it all at once or pay it over time. In this case, I don't have the ability to pay that all at once. Let's say I'm paying off my Discover card over time. So it represents debt that I'm carrying. Now, I don't want to be reminded every single month to assign the current balance of that card. So I'm going to come up with an amount that works with my spending plan. So I'm going to hit this create a debt payoff target button over on the right. And now I need to come up with a monthly amount that works with my plan. And you have two ways of doing this. You can choose the payoff balance by date option, and you can play with that date picker. And like I said, find an amount that works for you. Just keep in mind, you're not locked into anything. You can always come back and edit those targets. The other option you have is the pay specific amount monthly. Maybe you already know how much you're trying to send to the credit card company every single month. Let's say I know I'm trying to send $300 to Discover every month. So I'm going to choose that option, enter in $300, and now watch this target. It remains yellow, but now the amount that I need to assign has changed. YNAB's no longer reminding me to assign that entire balance. It's reminding me to assign $300 because that's what I want to send. So now every single month, YNAB is going to remind me to assign $300 to my Discover payment category. And it's going to do that until I actually pay the card off. So there we go. It's reminding me, but I don't need to wait because I've got $300 sitting around and ready to assign. So I'm going to take that last chunk of available money, assign it directly to my payment category, and the category turns green. And now I can see I have $300 set aside to send to Discover. And again, with the Discover, this is a process that I'm going to repeat every single month until I've got that card paid off. All right, congratulations. You have now set up your credit cards and you've made a decision about how you're going to handle that current balance that you brought in to YNAB. Let's move on and talk about new spending. So if you're going to continue to use your credit card in YNAB, the key is to make sure that you have money available in your spending category. And as long as you have money available in your spending category, YNAB will automatically move it to your credit card payment category. So it's going to help you hold on to that cash until you actually need to send it to the credit card company as a payment. Let's walk through some examples. Let's say I'm going to do some grocery shopping. So first thing, I check my groceries category and I can see that I have $750 available to spend on groceries. Now, excuse me, remember, with YNAB, these available balances represent real dollars, real money. So of all the money that I have, $4,040, 750 of those dollars are set aside for groceries. And so now I'm going to use my Visa to spend that available money. So let's say I go to Costco, I spend $200 there. I'm going to go ahead and enter this spending transaction myself. So I clicked on the Visa account and I hit this add transaction button. And for those of you that have a linked account, those transactions will import automatically for you. You just need to categorize them. You just need to tell YNAB where you're going to take that money from in your spending plan. So I hit add transaction, payee, this is who I gave the money to, Costco, category, where am I taking it from in my spending plan? I'm taking it from the $750 I have available in groceries. And then the amount I spent, that is an outflow, $200. I save that transaction or I approve it if it was an imported transaction. And now I can see that my balance goes up. Over here on the left, YNAB is now telling me that I owe Visa $610. And let's click budget and check out what goes on there. First off, like you'd expect, YNAB takes $200 from the groceries category. So now moving forward, I can see that I have $550 to spend on groceries for the rest of October. And then as soon as YNAB took that money out, it moved it automatically to the credit card payment category. So now you can see I have $610 available to send to Visa. I have the $410 that I assigned to myself directly to the category to deal with that starting balance that I brought into YNAB. And then I have another $200 that YNAB moved automatically. And again, it moved it automatically because it was new spending that I entered or imported into YNAB, and I had that money set aside in my spending category. Let's walk through another example. After the grocery haul, let's say I just stay right at Costco and I fill up the minivan with gas. So I look at transportation, I've got $150, more than enough to cover a tank. So I go back into my Visa account, I hit that add transaction, payee, we'll say Costco gas here. Category transportation, the amount I spent, $40, that's entered as an outflow, save. And now with that new transaction, my balance once again goes up. Now I can see that I owe Visa $650. Back to the budget. There's YNAB taking the $40 out of transportation. That leaves me $110. And then automatically it moves that $40 to my Visa payment category. So now I have $650 set aside to send to Visa. And I love how YNAB is handling credit cards here. It's first making sure that I have the money available. And then it's holding on to those dollars until I actually need to send them to the credit card company as a payment. Because think about your credit card transactions. I didn't actually buy the gas or buy the groceries. Visa bought those things for me. So eventually, Visa is going to want their money back. They're going to be knocking on my door. Ernie, hey, we bought you that tank of gas at Costco. We bought you the groceries and we bought you all that other stuff pre YNAB, right? You owe us $650. And now I can look at YNAB and see, oh, no problem. I already have accounted for that spending. And I've got that money, $650 available, ready to send right back to you. And also, remember, the Visa is my pay in full card. And notice how that payment number is still matching the balance that I owe. I owe Visa $650. I have $650 available for payment. All right, we've covered dealing with the starting balance. We just talked through how to handle new credit card spending. Let me walk through how to deal with those credit card payments. So I always start in the actual budget. I look to see what I have available to send to the credit card companies. I have $650 that I can send to Visa. I have $300 that I can send to Discover. And now I need to log into those actual accounts and make the payments there. Even though my Visa is linked, I still need to log into Visa and make the payment with them. And then once that payment is made in the real world, I can come back to YNAB and record that payment. And the key with credit card payments is they need to be recorded as transfers. That is an outflow from the cash account and an inflow into the credit card account. So there's two sides, and you can start that payment from either account. Doesn't matter. I'll show you an example of both. So I'm going to go into my checking account and let's start it from there. Let's create the payment that I made to my Visa. I sent them $650. So I'm going to hit this add transaction button. The payee field is where we create transfers. I clicked into the payee field and right at the top, I have my payments and transfers list. So now all I need to do is find the account I sent the payment to, Visa. And as soon as I select that account, YNAB automatically pulls in that Visa credit card payment category. And then all I need to do, enter the amount of the payment as an outflow because that is money that has left my checking account, $650. Save that transaction. That's what the payment looks like in my checking account register. And so YNAB is reflecting $650 leaving my checking account. Let's go into the Visa. Here's the other side of that transfer. In my Visa account, it's a payment from checking. Still has that Visa payment category. And now that payment is a $650 inflow. So that has reduced my balance. So here's where we stand with my Visa, with my Visa. I now owe them $0. And then I click on the budget and I can see that I have $0 available for my next payment. which is perfect. This is the exact situation that I want to be in. I wanted to take all the money that I had set aside for Visa and send that as a payment to reduce my balance to zero. All right, let's record that payment from to Discover. And for this one, I'm going to start in the credit card account. You might want to do this because of this nice handy dandy record payment button. Click that and YNAB will automatically pull in that payment amount as an inflow. So my payment amount that is in the budget, that's listed for you right here in the upper right of your credit card account register. And then, like I said, I just hit that record payment button. YNAB pulls that amount in as an inflow. So now all that's left for me to do, click the payee field and select the account the payment came from. And your payment category or list is right at the top. So I'm just going to choose payment from checking. YNAB automatically pulls in that Discover payment category. Hit the save button. And there we go. Now with that payment recorded, I can see my balance drops. I now owe Discover $2,100. And then in my checking account, here's that Discover payment. Payment Discover payment category, $300 outflow. So YNAB is reflecting $300 leaving my checking. So here's where we stand with the Discover. I now owe them $2,100. And in my Discover payment category, I can see I don't have any money available for my next payment. And again, this is the exact place that I wanted to be this month with my Discover. I'm paying this card off over time. I wanted to take all the money that I set aside and send it to them. And then with the Discover, I'm going to repeat this process next month. I will assign $300 more to the payment category, make that payment, and then record it. All right, one other thing that I want to touch on when it comes to credit card payments is how to deal with those payments when you have a linked account. Because a lot of times, especially the first time that those payments import into YNAB, they're not going to import as a transfer. They might look something like this. I'm not sure what the payee will be. Mine comes through something like payment thank you, but then it's going to be asking for a category. So it's set up like a regular inflow or outflow transaction. But now we know that credit card payments need to be recorded as transfers. So all you need to do is convert that regular inflow or outflow into a transfer. And I'm just going to click on the payee field to do that. So right at the top, I have my payments and transfers list. I'm in my Discover, so I'm going to choose that payment from checking. Perfect. YNAB automatically pulls in that Discover payment category. So now I know I have this set up correctly. Save that transaction, and I'm good to go. And then the nice thing here is YNAB should remember that those credit card payments need to be entered as transfers. So next month, YNAB, once that transaction imports, it should automatically convert that to a transfer for me. But, I always double check just to make sure. All right, folks, we have covered the main topics for how to use credit cards in YNAB. We talked about setting up and dealing with that starting balance. We talked about new spending, and we talked about recording those credit card payments. So now let me get into a few other topics that you may have questions about, and then we'll end with some other resources that you can check out. A lot of folks ask us, how do you deal with credit card interest? And it's really simple. You're going to treat credit card interest as new spending. So what I have done is created an interest and fees category, and you can call it whatever you want, and you can put that category wherever makes the most sense in your plan. I put it right under my immediate obligations. because this is something that I need to take care of and figure out how I'm going to handle every single month, just like my other bills. So I went ahead and I assigned $40 to my interest category because I don't want that interest to create new debt for me. So I'm assigning money, and then when that interest charge hits, YNAB's going to move it to the payment category for me. So it's just going to help me with that debt pay down process. And let's say today, Discover charged me $35 of interest, which brings up another thing. The interest changes from month to month. So I always give myself a little bit of a buffer in that category. This is about what Discover charges me. Let's add another $5 or $10 on top of that. So today, Discover charged me $35 of interest. And again, I want to treat interest as regular spending. So I'm going to click into my Discover account. I'm going to hit this add transaction button in the upper left. And for those of you that have a linked account, generally, those interest transactions should import automatically. Payee, this really doesn't matter. You can call this whatever you want. It could be the name of the credit card company, the name of the credit card company interest. It could be CC interest. Just doesn't matter. I'm going to call it Discover interest. The important part is the category. And this is where I'm choosing that interest and fees category I set up. And the amount of interest I was charged, that is going to be an outflow, $35. So now YNAB is reflecting exactly what is going on in the real world. Discover just charged me $35 of interest. My balance goes up. And now with that interest transaction recorded in YNAB, my balance goes up. I owe Discover $2,135. And then let's click on the budget and see what goes on there. Just like with all the other spending, because I had money available to cover that spending, YNAB takes the $35 out, and then it moves it automatically to the credit card payment category, right? So I'm ensuring by covering my interest that interest charge, excuse me, does not create any new debt. And something else going on here is I've already made my credit card payment for the month. If I wanted to send that $35 to Discover right now, I absolutely could. But if I don't, that money's going to roll over into the next month, right? So the payment categories are working just like the other categories. If you have money left over, available dollars, it automatically rolls over next month. So I just want to show you this. Watch as I go from October to November. And there we go. $35 is available. And then the category is yellow. That's the reminder to assign $300. So once I assign the $300, then I have $335 that I can send as a payment. All right, that is interest. Let's talk about overspending. I've said numerous times, have the money available in the payment category, or excuse me, in the spending category. That's key. But what if that isn't possible? Let's say I had a big car repair. I have $100 available. Car repair was $600. Put that on my Visa. So we go payee mechanic, category auto maintenance, outflow, $600. So as soon as I import or add that transaction, my balance jumps. Now I owe Visa $600. And then here's what the category looks like. Auto maintenance is overspent by $500. That's why it's negative, and that's why it's yellow. Now, YNAB did take that $100 that I had available in my auto maintenance category, and it moved it to my payment category, right? So I've got $100 that I can now send to Visa as a payment. My category, my payment category, has turned yellow. YNAB recognizes I've created a little bit of credit card debt here. Cover $500 in overspend categories in order to pay off your current balance. YNAB did not have $500 in my auto maintenance category, so it was not able to move that to the payment category. And like I said, that overspend category now represents potential new debt. If I don't pay that category back by the end of the month, I'm going to have a new $500 of debt on the card that I have to deal with. And you can see that. Look at the balance of the card. I owe Visa $600. In the payment category, I have $100 available. So that difference between what I have and what I owe, that represents my credit card debt. So my first order of business is always, can I make any adjustments to my plan to pay that category back? So I'm going to go through, if this was my personal budget, I'd be going through all these categories and looking to see if I could make some adjustments within reason, right? I don't want to take away money from categories where I know I'm going to need it there later on in the month. So I'll keep this demo super simple. Let's say the only flexibility I have, how about home maintenance right here? I'm looking at this available amount thinking, okay, I've got $150. How about I take 100 of those? I'll leave 50 in home maintenance just so I have something, some sort of buffer there. But let's move 100. I just clicked on what was available. I'm going to move that to auto. And basically all YNAB is doing is it's unassigning $100 from home maintenance and it's assigning that $100 to auto maintenance. So now I have assigned 200. That reduces my overspending to 400. And then in the payment category, I have another 100 available, right? So as soon as you assign new money into an overspent category, YNAB will automatically move it to the payment category for you. So now I've reduced that potential debt to $400. But let's say that's all I can do. I end the current month with an overspent auto maintenance category. Here's what's going to happen in the next month. So I'm going to flip forward from October to November. And notice how that overspent amount does not carry over. In October, it was negative 400. In November, it is 0. And that's always going to be the case if you have overspent categories. YNAB will not carry over those negative category balances. So now in November and all of those following months, I don't need to worry about paying back my auto maintenance category, right? There's nothing to pay back there because it reset to 0. Now, maybe I want to assign money to deal with, new car repairs in the future, but I don't have to worry about paying anything back. What I have to pay back is my Visa payment category. We're always going to pay off debt in the actual payment category of the credit card account. And YNAB knows this, right? That's why my category is now yellow. It says, Ernie, you need to assign $400 more to pay off your current balance. So again, I owe Visa $600. I have $200 available for my payment. That difference between what I owe and what I have, that's my debt, $400. And that ties directly back to my overspend categories in October. That negative $400 there in auto maintenance. So now in November, I'm going to assign money directly to my Visa payment category to deal with that car repair that I'm paying off from October. And if you realize that you're not able to make up all of that debt in 1 month, create a debt payoff target, right? Find a manageable monthly amount that works with your plan that you can pay off over time. And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to click that button. And this is where I'm going to use the payoff balance by date. And let's say I want to pay this off by the end of the year. So December 2024. And so now YNAB is no longer prompting me to assign the full amount that I owe. It's changed to that target amount. So now in November, YNAB will prompt me to assign $200. And then in December, it will prompt me to assign $200 as well. And then assuming I'm able to do that and make those payments, I'll have the card paid off by the end of the year. All right. Couple other items that I want to cover. How do you handle cashback rewards on the credit card? Let's say today that I redeemed $40 of cashback rewards on my Discover account, right? So in the real world, Discover is crediting $40 to my account. So my balance is getting reduced by $40. So what I want to do in YNAB is I want to record that cashback reward or import it, and I want to categorize it as ready to assign. And again, in this case, payee really doesn't matter. I'm going to say Discover Cashback. And then I like using the same payee for all my cashback rewards, because then I can go into my Reflect tab and income versus expense. I can see how much cashback I've redeemed over the course of a year. I'm choosing that ready to assign category. That's the important part. And then the reward, the credit, that is entered as an inflow, $40. So there we go. There's that cashback reward entered or imported into YNAB. And you can see over here on the left, it reduces my balance by $40. Now I owe Discover $2,095. And that ready to assign category has absolutely zero impact on your actual ready to assign. All that ready to assign category is going to do in your credit card account is reduce your balance. But what I always do after I enter it or import it, I do double check my payment category to see if I have additional funds, if I have more money in my payment category than what I need to send as a payment. And in this case, I don't, right? I have the $35 that was available there from that interest charge that I recorded. So I wouldn't want to take any money out of this category because this card I'm paying off over time, and I want to keep all my dollars available in that payment category so I can try to pay it off as fast as possible. If I had, a cash back on the Visa, my pay in full card, that might be something that I realize, there's more money in this payment category than what I need to pay that balance down to zero. And then I could move those additional funds, that surplus, to anywhere I want in the budget. I could move it to another debt category. I could move it to a fund category. It really doesn't matter. All right, final demo here. Let's talk about refunds. First, let's do some spending, and then we'll return our stuff. I'm going to do some clothes shopping. I've got $100 available. Let's spend it all. And actually, I'm going to delete that mechanic transaction because this is what I want. I want my Visa balance to be zero. I want my payment category to be zero because I want you to be able to see the flow of money in the budget. And I think this will help with that. So first, the spending. Hit the add transaction button. I go to the big box store and I categorize as clothing, outflow $100. So now I owe Visa $100 on the budget. You know exactly what's going to happen. YNAB takes the $100 out and it moves it to my payment category. So now I have $100 set aside to send to Visa, and I don't have any money available for clothes for the rest of the month. Get home and realize, I guess this pair of jeans doesn't actually fit. So I bring them back. So I go back to the big box store. They issue a credit to my credit card account. And now I'm going to record that credit. Or again, if my account is linked, it should import automatically. Payee, this is the big box store, right? Same payee as the original purchase. And the category is also the same category as the original purchase, clothing. And since this is a credit, I'm going to mark this as an inflow in YNAB. The pants were $35. Save. So there's that refund, that credit listed in my credit card account register. That reduces my balance. You can see now I owe Visa $65. It went down from $100 to $65. Here's what happens on the budget. It is a reversal of that money. YNAB first, it takes that refund amount out of the payment category. So it took $35 out and it put it back into clothing. So now moving forward, I owe Visa $65. I have $65 to send them as a payment so I can still pay this down to $0. And I've got $35 more to spend on clothing this month. And then what's really nice is my activity, my spending is only reporting on what I actually bought and kept. So my reports are going to be really happy. They're going to be reporting on $65 of spending. Okay, friends, that is credit cards and how to use them in YNAB. I really hope this was helpful. Remember, you can always go backwards and you can rewatch any of these chapters as many times as you want. We also have additional resources for you. Click on the question mark in the bottom right-hand corner there, and you can do this on web or mobile. Click our answers tab in the bottom left, and then search whatever you have a question about. You could even just put in credit cards, and you're going to come up with a whole list of resources. So great information that's available at your fingertips, web or mobile. The other option, maybe you want to talk to a real person. Over here on the right, we have this chat window. Click there, new conversation. And then with our nice friendly bot, just answer a few questions, the nature of your question. That directs you to the right group of people. We have folks here at YNAB. They're fantastic. They're dedicated to helping you understand and use credit cards. And then you'll come to a screen where you can answer or you can ask your question, and that gets submitted as an email. And then eventually you'll be in touch with one of our fantastic support reps, and they can help you in any way that you want. And we also have more videos on our YouTube channel about credit cards. So feel free to search those. All right, friends, until next time, happy YNABing.